Hi, my name is Jens Heitland and I'm the founder of Heitland Innovation. I empower entrepreneurs to connect the dots of innovation. That's why I have set myself a challenge to empower 1 million people in 2021 to innovate. So if you're interested in this journey, in this challenge, please follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube and other social medias where I will share and let you be part of that journey. But let me start a bit way back. So I grew up in Germany and I was a 16-year-old little guy, a little bit chubby, a little bit overweight. And I started in construction. So I'm working on construction sites as an electrician. Basically was too bad in school to be able to go to the secondary part of the school, which is the school system in Germany, to directly go studying. So I looked into how can I use the skills I have and apply them in a different setting. So I found out that electrician is the way to go. So really going into construction sites, working with different companies and supporting people to build their homes and having electricity and lights and so on. So while doing this, I did this a couple of years and found out that this will not be my passion for every time. So this will not be my passion for my whole life. After that, I really looked into what's next and how to develop myself forward while being kind of happy in the situation where I was. And then there came this gap year, which you need to do, at least back in the days when you're growing up in Germany, where you either go to the military or you do social services. I have decided to do social service and I went on an island which has changed my life. I was living on an island for about a year. Which is a small tiny island in the north of Germany, which is called Spiekeroog, where I was basically doing services in a family holiday home. So I came back after that, was kind of changed person. It was from being busy and partying every day to go to this island, being silent, having still fun and doing a little bit of partying, but it's like being in silence changed me and the person I was. Going back into the same company I was working before, working on an electrician, I was happy, I was growing, I was doing special educational topics, was learning about electrician, learning on how to do alarm system, all this kind of fun things. Until one day when I was asked to go into the office of the owner of the company, where he basically told me that I'm fired. And it was a specifically difficult situation in that time in the whole industry in Germany, and I was one of the youngest guys. So basically I got fired and a world broke together for me. I was not knowing what's going on. Funny enough, this was on a Friday before I went back to the island, which is like one weekend per year where I always meet up with my best buddies from that time and now as well buddies which came along. It was exactly a Friday on that meeting and I remember it as it was yesterday. I was going out of that office, I was crying, I was really like my whole world broke together. I said it's like, okay, I will now be pissed for one day. I was partying all night. That day I was pretty much drunk. And came back and sorted that stuff out after that long weekend and basically had a new job the week after. So I found a job in another construction industry company with a good friend who was owning another company at that time. But I have seen that this is not what I want to do my whole life. I don't want to work on construction sites. I didn't get energy out of that. So I started on a journey applying for a lot of companies, finding out new things, trying to look into how can I use my skills in different ways, and got the opportunity to start for facility management company. So I was basically getting a job where I was driving with a little minivan through different sites of a client, and that was like watering plants, I was changing light bulbs, I was doing maintenance stuff. So it's fairly low key. I was younger, I think it was like 24 years old at that time. Developed myself in that company a little bit further, went from being the handyman style person to do maintenance planning and supporting other maintenance staff to do that, and developed myself further. Still, I wasn't sure if this is the right thing for me to do, and then one day I got a phone call which opened up a new world for me, which basically changed my life and the way where I am today. So I was getting a phone call on, hey, what about joining one of the biggest retail companies in the world as technical manager? Long story short, I started at that company as a technical manager, moved with my wife, or at that time even not my wife, with my girlfriend, 600 kilometers south, starting in a new company, starting a new life, and that started the journey. So I was in that company for 12 years. I was developing myself from being the local technical guy in one of the stores to be then responsible for 11 stores, working with projects on a countrywide in Germany, was then moving to Russia, was taking on two leadership roles in the Russian management team, to ending up being global responsible for innovation in that retail company and that arm of that business. So it was a tremendous experience I've developed as a person, I've developed as a professional, and that's what a lot of people know me for. Most of the people don't know even that I've started as an electrician, taking care of buildings, taking care of construction sites. So until now, I have lived in 4 countries, which is Germany, which is Russia, which is Sweden, which is Denmark. I have moved 12 times. It was the best journey to be on. I was super successful. I was stoked. Everyone has seen me as the success person until I hit the wall. So I was in a global position. I was working with innovation. I was supporting the organization to innovate. I was working with a lot of people. And then I got a new manager. This manager, basically it didn't click between this manager and myself. And I felt like I haven't achieved anything in my whole life. I wasn't worth enough to do that job. I wasn't even considered to be one of the future leaders anymore. So in one day, everything broke together. So I was the global successful manager, and it broke together in a way that I just got a new manager. So I was traveling quite a lot at that time, and extensively through the whole world, was flying in and was flying out, living in Sweden. So I came back one day from a business trip, taking the train from Copenhagen airport over the bridge which crossed the Öresund, which is like the water between Denmark and Sweden. So I was sitting on the train. I was super damn tired because I was traveling the whole time. And I'm always listening to podcasts. And there's like, when you sit in the train, it's fairly busy in the evening. So it was busy. I was standing on the side. It's like squeezing myself into the train. So I was listening to a podcast from Seth Godin, and that thing has changed my life. That's the biggest thing, and the blessing I've had that changed my life. I'm going out of that train station, running over to the bus because it's always short to miss it. And of course, what happens? I missed it. So I listened to another episode of a different podcast, was switching a little bit, but then came back to a podcast from Seth Godin, which is called Akimbo, where he was explaining a way of thinking and a way of understanding the world, which was focused on school kids, and which was helping them not to collect the dots, helping kids in these days to connect the dots instead. I was struck by lightning at that time. I am completely messed up. I have my whole life, my whole career, collected the dots where I tried to please others, where I tried to fit into the whole game. So this basically changed my life in a way that I said, I will restart. And this restart sounds now backwards, like, yeah, okay, I did restart, but it didn't happen like snapping and the next day I was starting exactly again. But I really remember it, that this day going home, sitting in that train, changed everything. So I've decided I will switch from collecting a lot of dots to connecting the dots. I will give back. So I slowly made a plan to how do I use all of what I have learned over the last 20 years in my career, going from an electrician to being a global manager in one of the best companies in the world, to how do I give back? How do I help people to connect the dots of innovation? That's where I set out to find my way going forward. And what was important for me is I was always teaching and coaching leadership, so I was having the opportunity to go to a lot of leadership seminars and understanding how coaching leadership style, which is another story to go into. But I basically settled on leadership coaching and built a business around this. But then I found out that, yeah, leadership coaching is nice and I love to do it, but it's only one piece of innovation. So what then I figured out is that what if I connect the dots again, where I say, I do coaching on a leadership base, but how do I move this? How do I do this with innovation? So it took me over a year to figure that out, even if the story is short. But that's basically where my businesses, which I'm running right now, are born, where I said I will connect coaching and leadership with innovation, because what I have seen and experienced over the last years was that a lot of things in innovation are not happening because of the influence of people, where the people are the common denominator that's not working, because there are amazing processes out there. There are amazing systems out there that help everyone to innovate. But what is often not working, what's often hindering, is the people aspect of it. So I built up a framework which I call the applied innovation methodology, where it's basically helping people to innovate, and I'm focusing on entrepreneurs because I believe that entrepreneurs will change the world in the way they think, in the way they act, in the way they deliver their business going forward. So that's where I set out to build this. And today I'm running 5 businesses in a company. I moved back to Germany because of family reasons. I'm 100% happy. I'm focusing on 100% impact, and that would never have happened without having that manager who basically brought me on that path. And even that situation was maybe one of the worst situations at that time for my life. I can't thank this manager enough, because without this manager I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be starting on a journey where I'm basically changing a lot of people's lives and empowering entrepreneurs to innovate, empowering entrepreneurs to take their business to their next level. And that's why I'm really, really, really thankful for. So I believe that everyone can step out of their situation, can take their own things into their hand, and I believe that everyone can connect the dots going forward. So I'm Jens Heitland. I'm the founder of Heitland Innovation. I set myself a goal for 2021 to empower 1 million people to innovate. So please follow me on all social media and be part of my journey. I will share on a daily basis what's going on. So please follow me and be with me and grow and innovate the world. Thank you.